On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are going to hear Marvin Mims' reaction to the trade for Jaylen Waddle, break that down, and then we're diving into who is the third receiver for the Broncos. Plus, we got some updated news and notes for you. It all starts now. Pat or Troy, who will be the podcast live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores. Ryan Koenigsberg to my left, Henry Chisholm to my right. We got Dion behind the camera and Zac Stevens rocking and rolling with you today, fellas. How we doing on Peyton Manning's 50th birthday?
Happy birthday, Payton. You don't look it. Henry and I aren't matching today.
Oh, right. Sleeves. And the whole black hat.
He got sleeves. I went no sleeves. I went single tone black hat.
I saw two.
He's still going two-tone.
Different hat than yesterday. Same hat, though.
I was just going to say, did you change it off from yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
This is different black hoodie. Remember, yesterday was a little triangle Nike logo.
Okay.
Yep.
This one's just the black on black. This is my other DNVR hat.
Wow.
And these shorts, which are also producer Dion's favorite shorts. Not sure if he's wearing them today. Haven't looked. But I've got 3 pairs of these same black Nike shorts. They're the very best shorts.
So you're like Steve Jobs. Just
Yeah.
like one set of the exact same outfit, so you never have to make it. I'm kind
And
of
alive.
jealous of that.
I actually now have 3 pairs of these shorts, but one of them has the stripe on the side.
Are they all the
other
same
don't.
color?
2 are black and 1 is black with a stripe.
Yeah, so pretty much. Wow.
Also, I have one other thing I'm actually super pissed off about. So, have you heard of the 999 challenge?
Yes.
Where you drink the 9 beers or the 9 hot dogs?
Yes.
In 9 innings.
Yeah. So there are 6.
Colorado version's better, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to. We've got plenty of time. We have the 6 different stadiums are introducing the 999 challenge this season, and they're all. One of them is the Rockies, and they're all mini hot dogs.
Of course
with
they are.
mini beers.
Yeah, of course they
And it
are.
is so offensive
Oh
because the
my
whole
God.
point.
This is stolen valor.
It's awful. And somebody's going to come back and say, I did the 999. You're like, these hot dogs are shorter than my pinky. They give you 1 big beer to pour all your 9 little shot glass, basically.
Yeah.
One of them's Coors Field.
You should finish that in 1 inning.
You should. You should have to do 9 of these. You should have to do 1 every inning. So, I mean.
It probably costs like $65.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, of
it comes in
course.
a cute little box. Ick.
I have more problems with that.
Good.
Which is that if you waited 9 innings to eat that, the beer is warm and the dogs are cold,
Yeah.
Right.
which is just a disservice.
Right.
Like if you're gonna do it the old-fashioned way.
Does every inning you have to get up and go get it?
Yep.
Then you're missing so much of the game.
Oh no.
Hey. Okay.
Wow. For Mr. Sports Guy, just being okay with missing part of the game.
You can definitely. You just have to strategically get a seat near the hot dog stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
can
not
definitely
the-
get it in between innings.
Yeah. So just if anybody's watching, don't do the 999 thing.
Well, do it, but do it right.
Do it right.
Or
right.
do the Colorado version.
Right.
9 runs, 9 holes, 9 innings.
Unfortunately, ski season may never cross over with baseball season.
You could do 9 runs mountain biking.
Okay. That works.
Oh, okay.
And then you're going to be so worn out from such a crazy day that maybe you would want 9 hot dogs and 9 beers.
Right.
Now you've earned those calories.
Yeah.
9 runs, and runs meaning ski
Ski
or
runs.
mountain biking.
Now mountain
Yep.
biking.
9 innings, watch the baseball game,
Yep.
and then
9 holes.
9 holes, yes, of course, yep. And you have to do it.
All in one day.
You golf in the afternoon, games at night, and then in the morning is when you're skiing.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Have you ever done it
No.
on the bucket list?
I'd like to do it. My skiing career is kind of over.
Yeah. I've got to do the real 999 first. I got beers and hot dogs is the one that's on mine.
I feel like though the 999 Colorado one was before the baseball one.
I
think it's just what
So when you say 999, the real one, I think the real one's the Colorado one.
I think it's what people from plebe states had to do to have something.
Yep, I think you're right.
I just can't wait to go to a Rockies game and there'll be some like loser Dodger fan doing the 999. And I'm just going to think so little of them.
Yeah, you already do.
Right. Well,
Let's get to a couple of news and notes. We have a big show, actually. We're going to hear from Marvin Mims, his reaction on Jaylen Waddle's trade. Then we're going to break down who the Broncos' third receiver will be. And then we are also going to get to Sean Payton talking about free agency. But let's start with some news and notes. First, guys, the big news everyone's been waiting for. We know Tyson Anderson's contract.
Oh, thank God.
1 year, $1.5 million, $200,000 signing bonus, $650,000 guaranteed. This is exactly what we said about him. He still has to make the team now. This is not a guaranteed like roster spot now. So got to make that through special teams.
yep. Do we know what number he's wearing?
I don't know. You can probably check the Broncos website right now.
That's a good.
They haven't dropped it yet, but Tyson with a C, Tycen, Anderson.
I do too. Let's see. It is alphabetized by last name, so that should be quick. No number yet.
No number. All right.
Yeah.
So
Gotta earn that too.
we're waiting patiently for Tyson Anderson's number. The other news
How
today.
sick would it be if you haven't really you're not even necessarily on the team, but you did get $200,000.
Oh,
Right.
would be so cool.
Right.
And 650,000 guaranteed.
Yeah,
That's
it's real nice.
and it's funny when people tweet out or report this news. It's like it's only $200,000. It's only $650,000 guaranteed. And yes, that is not a lot compared to what quarterbacks make these days. But that's
A lot compared to the average American.
that's a lot of money for maybe not even 1 year of work.
Yeah, could be a couple weeks of work.
It really
Yes.
could.
Speaking of money, we also got some news today that it was presented as news, but it wasn't really. And I think there's going to be some questions in the Twitter chat. So I wanted to hit this. Jaylen Waddle, the Broncos restructured his contract, but not really. That was just like the formality of what they had to do, but they had agreed to doing this before the trade even happened. So like all the trade numbers we talked about last week about how Broncos cap hit was going to be $4.9 million, and then it goes up after that, but it's such an easy number right now. Nothing changed with what the Broncos did there. So all of those numbers that we talked about last week are the same. So you don't have to worry about like anything with his contract. Essentially, they did this because it was going to happen in the Dolphins contract anyways, and so now the Dolphins take that on. Broncos restructured it to look like what it would have. So that's kind of it. Broncos cap hit for Jaylen Waddle, still $4.9 million this year.
Yep.
So why was that news?
Because they officially did it, and when they officially
Official.
yeah, it's
Right.
officially official. Exactly. And then so when the news was put out, people are like, oh, so now
Yeah.
does he have like a free cap hit, or like what does this mean? And it's like, well, it actually doesn't mean anything. We already knew this. It just became officially official. And when stuff becomes officially official, you have to talk about it being
have
officially
to talk
official.
about it,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So the Broncos are making another big move, is what I heard.
Oh,
You would
okay. They have like, I think it's roughly $16 million in cap space. I think.
I think after draft picks.
Cam
16.
Jordan, come on down.
If you're going to get Cam, just get Vaughn. That's where I'm at.
Well, that's not going to happen.
What if we talk about this tomorrow? Because I think Cam is he doing a great job garnering attention on him. Like we're out in Denver. He's never played for the Broncos before, and we're talking about him. There's other cities talking about him.
We probably wouldn't be talking about him that much if it weren't for the Sean Payton connection.
Yes, yes, that's very true. So let's continue here, and maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. And let us know in the chat if you'd want Vaughn or if you'd want Cam Jordan, and we can see how Broncos Country's feeling about that. So yesterday we talked with Benny. We got his perspective on Jaylen Waddle, what he brings to the Broncos. Then we kind of tried to get, okay, what's the snap target share going to be like for these other guys? And we didn't dive too deep on that. So we are going to do that on today's show. But before we jump into that, guys, Marvin Mims was with altitude. He took the first shot at the Nuggets game on Sunday. Was good luck for the Nuggets there, and
missed.
Then he did miss, but then that led to the Nuggets making a lot.
He did miss.
Yeah.
That. Oh, really quick, you guys know with that first shot they use a different ball, and it's not just an NBA ball.
Yeah, it's like a special ball so they can sign it and throw it in there.
Why would they not just use a real ball? That seems
Because it
so
costs
messed
more.
up.
And
That's
you want to
so
sign it.
messed up. You're bringing like a famous person.
Uh-huh.
And you're not willing to use this $60 ball?
Oh, no. 150?
Okay, $150 ball?
I mean, what benefit would there be?
So that the person gets to shoot a real basketball. You're setting them up for so much. Imagine if right before an NBA game, they decided, look, we're gonna use this fake basketball that doesn't feel like a real basketball.
The game has real consequences
for this game.
Imagine Game 7 of the finals. You go out there and they just give them the fake.
Now you're just making it so difficult for these semi-average humans to make a basketball shot. It's so unfair. It's just more humiliating.
They get to warm up with it.
Yeah, but still, they've been playing with the regular ball for their whole life.
It's not that different. Like I've shot with that ball before,
but it is different.
It's different than like the one they use on the court, but it's not different than one you have on the court when you're a kid.
Plus, like it's not like most people are playing with NBA basketballs all the time.
This is a crazy thing to be debating.
I would think so. I just think it's ridiculous because it just like intentionally puts a person that does not play the sport at even a more disadvantage.
Like, give me a ball like made of needles. Give me 2 shots. I'm good.
No, you're not good. You're gonna be
199,
Ryan.
Yeah, nobody's. Marvin's never played with an NBA basketball before. I'll say it.
Oh, that's so false. That is so
actually,
false.
the NBA basketball would throw me off more than the.
Oh,
right.
Oh my gosh!
I would say
do you guys
not
work
once.
for the NBA? What's going on? The Nuggets? Maybe this is more of a Nuggets thing.
In what situations you play? It's okay. Minimum $200 for one of these basketballs, like the leather, like all that stuff. Have you ever played with like the NFL football?
Yes, I've thrown NFL football.
Okay.
Only around practice.
I do have one. I blew the money. Those are like 160.
It's really.
We're talking about NBA
we just
teams
have to, we
here.
have to move on. This is one of the dumbest arguments we've ever had.
So then after Marvin Mims talks to Vic Lombardi, and he talks about a lot of things, but then Vic asks him about Marvin Mims or about the Jaylen Waddle trade, and I thought Marvin was very honest, and I supported that. And I think that there's a lot to take away from here. And it's over a minute long. So we're going to play that coming up right after this break. Let's hear from Marvin coming up next.
If you love the NFL Draft, then this is your edge. The Die Hard NFL Draft Guide is built and based off of thousands of hours of film study, being boots on the ground, Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, Combine, talking to scouts, talking to coaches, really getting a feel for where these players are best going to fit and project in the NFL. And we're talking hundreds of players in this class. All right, so what are you going to find in the guide? Well, you're going to find player comps. You're going to find strengths, weaknesses, physical tools, analytics, highlights, analysis from all across the space, everything you need to try and determine who are the best players for your team. You get access to the guide if you're a diehard, and you'll also get access to a couple of individual breakdowns I'm doing specifically for your team. All right, look, if you want surface level breakdowns, you can get them anywhere. But if you want independent thought, if you want thorough breakdowns on all of these prospects, become a diehard, get the guide. Or you can get access to the 2026 guide for just $26. Let's win draft season.
Shout out to our friends over at Taco Bell. Taco Bell's awesome. They've got all sorts of different foods. They've got tacos. They've got burritos. They now have the chicken also, which is very different for them, but also very good. Whatever you want, they've got over at Taco Bell. And they do have the crispy chicken Crunchwrap sliders, which is a small, warm flour tortilla filled with premium all-white meat, marinated chicken seasoned with bold Mexican spices, and tossed in a crunchy tortilla chip coating, freshly prepared pico de gallo, 3-cheese blend, and creamy chipotle sauce or jalapeno honey mustard. It must be small in size, but big in flavor. It's perfect for late nights or when your cravings just won't quit. So go check that out. And they also have their Luxe value menu with all sorts of discounts. Taco Bell, it's the spot that you should be going for all of your late night snacks, lunch, dinner, breakfast, never a bad time. And go check out the new crispy chicken Crunchwrap sliders. Go ahead, slide into something craveable. Liv Moss at Taco Bell.
And shout out to everyone tuning in with us in the Toyota chat on this DNVR Broncos podcast. Hit us with a thumbs up. We appreciate every single one of you and love hearing what you have to say about Von Miller, Cam Jordan. Also, a lot of you breaking down who the Broncos' third receiver will be. And we'll get to that conversation in just a second. But I teased it right before the break about what the Broncos or what Marvin Mims said about this Jaylen Waddle trade. Dion, let's hear from Marvin Mims talking with Vic Lombardi of Altitude.
Well, the good news is Bo's going to come back healthy. Yep. The majority of your team's going to come back. The Broncos just signed Jaylen Waddle, and we were talking before this, you can never have enough talent on the team. How did you react when you saw that trade?
Yeah, for sure. I think it really surprised me, just bringing in a guy like that. But, I mean, if you look at his career ever since high school to college and now, he's just an explosive playmaker. And I think offensively, we always need more playmakers. I think it'll be a really fun to watch, so we'll just see how it all comes out this season.
Do you ask yourself, what does that mean for me, since you guys are essentially the same type of player?
Yeah, a little bit. It's just interesting to see how I'll fit in the offense. But at the end of the day, just for me, the past 2 years, the thing I've taken pride in is being able to play running back, be a returner, be a receiver. So any way I can affect the game, I'm happy to go out there and do it.
Yeah,
I will say Marvin, one, I love Marvin as a football player and a person, but two, he's always pretty darn honest. It kind of lets you know how he's feeling. And I thought Benny said it perfect yesterday. Like, everyone in that receiver room that's not named Cortland Sutton should be pissed and surprised by this, because they should have been surprised because they all thought that they were going to take that next step and be the number 2 or even the number 1 receiver next year, and pissed because, you don't think I'm good enough? And so I love Benny's perspective of that yesterday, and I think Marvin told the truth there. He was surprised, and I think with that surprise is also pissed off, just like I assume Troy Franklin is as well.
Yeah, what's interesting to me, and I'm never going to knock a player for being honest, because that's all we ever ask for. But I am interested in him being honest in this situation, because he had plenty of time to come up with whatever lie he wanted to tell, which could have been like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like, he's amazing. He's going to make our offense so much better. But no, he went.
I'm so surprised.
I'm very surprised about bringing in a player like that. And it's just interesting. I don't know, what the conversations with his agent have been like since then, but, with his contract coming up, it definitely lowers the chances of him returning to be a Bronco. Now, we talked about all the things he brings yesterday, including the return game, which could be enough for the Broncos to say, no, we value you, we want to keep you. But, like, those all-pro tags raise your price tag. The big plays and big games raise your price tag. And there's a lot higher chance now than there was before Jaylen Waddle was traded for, that the Broncos say, we love you, Marvin. Thank you for everything. We can't afford what you're asking for at that position.
Yeah. You just wonder what that number winds up being, because there are so many. Like, Wandale gets 17.5 per year, but he was a little bit more productive. Like, you go through the whole list, and it's tough to find names. The thing about free agency, though, is that there are just so many stupid teams. Like you look at the Raiders. They give Jalen Naylor 11.6 per year over 3 years. And that's somebody whose numbers are very comparable to what Marvin's done, and he's 27. Yeah, peaked with 444 yards last year. I think that was a career best. It's like Marvin is very capable of that, especially if he got more opportunities. So you'd say it should be at least 12 million.
His contract was 12?
A little less.
A little less than 12?
Yeah.
Does he return?
He might have, because they had Keenan Nwangwu before, the Vikings did, but I don't think he was there last year. So he might have been the returner.
That's actually insane amount of money.
He didn't.
And I mean, this is the wide receiver market that we live in. We just saw JSN get $42.5 million. Now we have multiple guys in the $40 million market.
Do you remember when Kirk Cousins got $40 million a year guaranteed? And that was like a bank breaking contract?
Yep.
Now wide receivers are getting more than that?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's going to be a steal, because he still has 2 years left under contract.
Right.
And then 4 more after. And so, like, when those 4 are the $42 million for, like...
It would be just like Pat.
Right. By the time it kicks in, you're going to be like, oh, Jamar Chase is already at 55. Like, what a steal.
It's insane. And so that's why these other numbers for wide receivers, like $10 million, $11 million, almost $12 million for a guy that had 400 receiving yards last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids, if you want to make money, then you can. Be a wide receiver, because that's where the money is right there. And we talked about it. I think that the comp that Marvin's class or company is going to use is going to be Rashid Shaheed. Give me, $51 million over 3 years. That's $17 million a season. And we'll see. What's interesting is there's many different paths for Marvin and these other wide receivers that we'll talk about in just a second. But for Marvin, it could be a trade before the draft so that the Broncos get draft picks in this draft, which they're lacking top 100 picks in. You could probably get a top 100 pick back for Marvin. So do they do that? Do they go into the season and see how things play out. And then just like they did with Devon Vele, trade one of these receivers right before cut day right before cut day in preseason. Do they rock and roll with all of these guys through the season because they're trying to make a Super Bowl and then they extend Marvin after the season? Or do they go all the way through that and then just say, shoot, Marvin, we can't pay you, so we're just going to get a compensatory pick back for you in free agency next year and let you hit the market?
Yeah, look, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. We have to operate like teams that are trying to win Super Bowls, and teams that are trying to win Super Bowls don't trade players who can make game-changing plays. And that's what Marvin is. And so I think the tough part, well, maybe that's not tough. You guys you've spoken incredibly highly about Marvin's character.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do think that is a job of the coaching staff to keep Marvin engaged and motivated. Now that he knows my role is going to be diminished, but it's like, hey, here's going to be your role. Here's going to be your opportunities. And if you go out and succeed in those opportunities in the way like a Rashid Shaheed did on your way to a Super Bowl, then you are going to make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And you'll have the, excuse when you go to free agency as well. I was in a crowded wide receiver room, but look at, my efficiency per target, or look at, what I did on punt returns. I returned 2 for a touchdown in a Super Bowl run, whatever it may be. That's like the job of the coaching staff this year, is to make sure Marvin is in full engagement as you're trying to make this Super Bowl run.
And for somebody on his track, he was always a developmental guy, super young when he was drafted. It makes sense for him to just get the little bridge contract too. He's a guy, he isn't going to be looking probably for a 4-year deal because there isn't a track record to give it to him. But for him, it's very easy to get the 2-year deal and then hit free agency a week before his 26th birthday. And that's when you get the big one. And you see that sometimes with those younger guys. So if you could lock him up now for 2 more years and give him a decent chunk of money for those and still have the flexibility when it comes time to say, do we want to keep Court for his age 32 season? Or do we want to re-sign Troy? Do we want to re-sign Pat? I think that little bridge contract and just keep this room together would make a lot of sense. But there's a lot of ways you can go. I think the other thing is, if you were to trade him, you would think that you would use something of what you got back to make another trade and go get somebody. But you already did get Waddle. And so would I have said the same thing 2 weeks ago before you had Jaylen Waddle? It's yeah, maybe you do move a receiver. It's tough to figure out where you go from here because you do have more receivers than you need. Your 4th and 5th receiver might be the best 4th and 5th receiver in the NFL.
And I also think Marvin said something very important in that second question that Vic asked him. And that was, I'm used to doing a lot of things. So he's now kind of building himself and solidifying this unique role for him that separates him from Jaylen Waddle, that separates him from Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant. He said, I'm used to playing running back. I'm used to being gadget. I'm used to returning kicks. And so that's how he finds his niche in this offense and with Sean Payton and with Davis Webb, is by doing all of those things. And we talked to him last year, and over the past year, I've talked to him a couple of times. And I remember asking him, what did you think when they asked you to play running back for the first time or line up in that position? He said, I thought they were crazy. Do you see how small I am? I'm not meant for that. And now he's kind of more embracing that role, which is smart, I think, for him, especially not just to be on the team this year, but to get a contract extension from the Broncos. He can get that right now. He could get that, or he could get it during the season or after the season. I do still think there's a chance that he is here long-term because he develops himself into a semi-joker role that also is just too good in the return game to get rid of.
Well, and here's the positive for Marvin, which we talked about for everyone, and I think it was Daniel Sepp in the comments who said, why are we talking about diminishing Marvin's role and not Troy? Everyone's role is getting diminished. That's just what it is. There's a better receiver in the room now. But everyone's role also got easier. So when Marvin goes out there and lines up in the pistol behind Bo, and I don't know if you guys remember this from the playoff game, but they actually literally hid him behind Bo at one point. He was squatted down in the pistol. And it's easier to hide someone like that when the defenses are, all right, where's Waddle? Where's Court? Hopefully JK's doing great. So can I learn anything from his alignment about where he's going to go? And that allows Marvin, if we're talking about from gadget plays, to be, snuck in there more easily. It also will get him more favorable matchups when he lines up at wide receiver. And same thing is true for Troy. We talked about that. So, if the offense is worlds better, which I think we all hope it is, there's just more plays, which is eventually going to create more opportunities, you know, and maybe, I don't know if they'll still get to the amount of opportunities they had last year, but there was a point, and I don't know if it held through the whole season. The Broncos were leading the league in 3 and outs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they wind up 5th in 3 and outs. But then at the same time, they were like top 5 in plays run. They were number 1 in pass attempts. Like, you are getting kind of close to.
But imagine if you were top 5 in 3 and outs instead of bottom 5 in 3 and outs. How many more plays would you run?
Totally. You would think, but at some point, like, you could lead the NFL in pass attempts by more. But that, I mean, you're pretty far up there. I think the big thing is you could just be more efficient with the plays that you have. Like, when you lead the NFL in pass attempts, you would hope your quarterback isn't 8th in passing yards. Like, you want that to, you would hope that he's number 1, and those two things just line up. And so there might just be, instead of 3,900 passing yards, there's 30 or 4,500. But I guess even then, those new 600 go to Jaylen Waddle. But then you probably have to find another 500 that also go to him that come from somewhere else. So I do think that there is just like they're too close to like the upward limit to have everybody keep the same level of production and throw Waddle in.
Totally. And I think where those guys are going to have to capitalize is efficiency.
Right.
Capitalizing on their opportunities, capitalizing on their targets. You know, how many touchdowns did Marvin have last year? Couple?
Yeah.
Can he get 4?
Right.
Because, you know, he drew a better matchup and was able to get open on a 9 route. Like, that's where, and like maybe Bo's a little bit more developed, so he hits some of the throws that he misses. Like, I think there is room for growth. Jaylen Waddle's going to take a big chunk of it,
right?
But those guys are going to have their opportunities.
Well, and here's the thing when it comes to Marvin and why, like, I actually think that this impacts the Jaylen Waddle trade impacts him the least, especially on the offensive side of the ball, is it's not like he was a guy that was getting 100 targets. And Sean both years that Sean's been his coach, has said multiple times throughout the season, I need to do a better job of getting him the ball. I can't forget about Marvin Mims when we're out there. Last year, he had 51 targets, 37 catches, 322 yards. And in the regular season, he only had 1 touchdown. As a receiver, he could get 37 catches and 322 yards again. Like,
yes, those are going to be out there.
I would probably take the over on that for this season for Marvin. Now, when it comes to Troy Franklin, for many reasons, what he did last year, unfortunately for Troy, 65 catches, 709 yards, 6 touchdowns.
What about targets?
He had 104 targets.
Yeah.
Those are all coming down. You're right. Efficiency. There were 39 passes that weren't caught, whether it was his fault, whether it was Bo's fault, whether it was someone else's fault. You want to narrow that to 20, and then your catches aren't going to diminish that much from there. But it's Troy's numbers. And I think it's Troy's numbers for a couple of reasons, guys. And I want to dive in to this and kind of look at the other receivers now and who's going to be the Broncos' third receiver. And that conversation is coming up next.
Shout out to our friends over at Toyota. The season where you really need a Toyota, the winter, has never came.
Right.
But it's great that Toyotas are also sick in the summer. Whether you're hitting off-roading trails or maybe you're going camping. Like, do you know how much cooler you look when you pull up to the campsite with like a sick 4Runner? You got all your camping stuff on the roof. And like the people at the campsite are looking over there being like, damn, that guy knows camp. And you probably do. And even if you don't, you know, you can fake it till you make it. But at the very least, you're going to have a sick looking car that is going to perform exactly the way you need it to as you're driving up to the campsite, hitting the off-road trails, whatever it may be. I can't wait to get my RAV4 so I can look cool at the campsite. But wherever you're going or wherever you want to go, visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe, and Centennial, Corin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota Eastern Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
It's hard to go somewhere and not see a Toyota. It's also hard to go somewhere and not see Volo, whether they're actually out at one of the many places playing, including Sloan's Lake, Rhino, Lodo, Highland City Park, South Broadway, or I see their shirts everywhere. And it's because they are the largest provider and the leading provider of adult social sports leagues, pickup games, and community events. And they offer so many different events in sports, including soccer, pickleball, kickball, basketball, and more. It's not only a great way to be active, it's a great way to play a sport, and it's a great way to meet new people. And over at Volo, you can sign up as a free agent, or you can join, you can have a team and join, and you can do that by going over to Volo and use that code Broncos15 for $15 off your first Volo Denver league. So you can get in with a group, or you can do it as a free agent, but you want to make sure you use that code Broncos15 for 15 off your first Volo Denver league. And we appreciate every single one of you joining us today. Hit us with a thumbs up. Let us know who you think is going to be the third receiver for the Broncos. And guys, I was transitioning to this conversation, and so I mentioned the numbers side of why I think Troy is unfortunately going to have a fall off in his numbers. But I also think there's another reason for that, and I disagree with something that Vic said in there. During his second question, he asked Marvin, he said, you guys pretty much play the exact same role or position, or however he phrased it. I don't think Marvin is the Jaylen Waddle comp. I think Troy was the Jaylen Waddle comp. I think Troy was gunning to be Jaylen Waddle eventually in a more similar role, because Waddle's not leaving the field. Troy is more of a guy that wasn't leaving the field last year. Troy's the guy that can take the top off, be a deep threat, but he can also run routes, and he was starting to evolve, especially last year, into an all-around wide receiver. Not that Marvin can't be that, but we just haven't seen the Broncos use Marvin like that. And so I just think that naturally Troy's going to take the most snaps away, or Jaylen's going to take the most snaps away from Troy as well. So I think that this move impacts Troy the most.
Well, and I think that leads to the headline, which is, can Troy learn to be a wide receiver 3? You know, can he line up in the slot if Jaylen is going to line up outside? Obviously, we know he can line up outside if you flip it around. We've seen glimpses of like short area quickness, which is usually something that you associate with a slot receiver. From Troy. Certainly hasn't popped off the page to me as like one of his biggest strengths, but that's where I think the real competition comes in, is like, okay, we have these talented guys. Where are we going to line them up, and who is going to be the best at it? And Benny was really strong on Jaylen lining up outside. I think that he might line up inside more than we expect. And then that allows like Troy to keep being on the field more. But otherwise, you're going to have to learn to play from the slot, and not just learn it, but win the job from that position.
It's a really good point that I think Jaylen is going to line up everywhere, and that will probably help Troy. And when Jaylen's outside, gives more opportunity for Pat if they're running the ball specifically, gives more opportunity for Marvin in the slot. And then when Jaylen's inside, gives more opportunity for Troy. And so to get to the headline of this question as well, guys, I really think this is, what is the situation in terms of who is the third wide receiver? And maybe I'll get to an answer of like who will lead the team in receiving by the end of this. But when you need a running wide receiver, blocking wide receiver in, it's Pat Bryant, without a doubt. He already proved it as a rookie. So he's going to be that guy when you're in 3 wide receivers and 1 a blocker, whether it's for screens, whether it's for run plays. When you want just an absolute explosion on the field to go with Jaylen Waddle in court, that's going to be Marvin Mims. And when you want a guy that be all around, specifically outside, at least as of right now, that's Troy Franklin. And so I think like that's the personnel changes that we're going to see the most, not like everyone but Court leaving. It's going to be those 2 guys on the field at all time, Jaylen and Court, and then you're going to see a rotation at that third wide receiver a lot, but it's not going to be at all of these positions all the time.
Yeah, and another thing that Benny said that I found interesting was like Court and Jaylen aren't coming off the field. Now, Court, I think, came off the field the least of anyone last year.
Yeah.
But everyone else was on and off, on and off, on and off. So it'll be interesting to see if the Broncos are actually that, I guess, stringent upon keeping everyone out there, or keeping Court and Jaylen out there. Because like, as you were just talking, I started imagining, well, what if you go with like a offensive NASCAR package? You go Troy, Jaylen, and Marvin out there. Now what are you doing as a defense? Like,
yeah.
But that breaks from the traditional way of being like, we have our X wide receiver, we have our Y, and we have our Z.
And that's not what Sean has ever done.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually still see these guys get a lot of opportunities, maybe to the chagrin of some fans who are like, why are we taking Cortland off the field, or why are we taking Jaylen off the field?
Because like, so Court, so 975 snaps last year, 936, 782, 882, 920. Waddle, 724, 793, 611, 785, 903. With Tyreek Hill there for all but the 900 snap season as a rookie. So I there will still be a lot of rotation. I'm confident in that.
And to get to the other guys' numbers, so last year Cortland played 85% of the Broncos' offensive snaps. Troy Franklin was second in terms of the receiver group, playing 58. So pretty big drop off from 1 to 2 there, but he's still over 50%. Pat Bryant played 41% of the offensive snaps, and Marvin Mims was at 33% of the offensive snaps. Now, this is going to be completely different because Jaylen Waddle is going to be in Denver and not Miami. But last year, Jaylen Waddle played 73% of the offensive snaps. So there is, I mean, that's significantly less than Court. And obviously, Sean will get to decide if that goes up or down. But for comparison, that is interesting right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, sometimes these conversations in the offseason sound like a problem.
And then,
and it's just the best problem to have. Like,
right.
Davis Webb gets to sit there right now and imagine, what a game is going to look like and how he's going to get these guys involved and how really they can work with Bo to just exploit matchups. And maybe you do see more 5 wide this year and Bo just kind of picking what he likes. That's a nasty group of 5 wide receivers to put out on the field.
And that's where I used to think that's where Bo was at his best. And I think the numbers dropped off a little bit last year. It's interesting. Even the Waddle Mims comp is interesting because I think Waddle is what you wanted Mims to be. But the route running, the shiftiness underneath never showed up. So you only get the deep stuff, which changes things. Because you also forget, like, Marvin's an inch and a half taller than Waddle and has an inch and a half longer arms than Waddle. Like, Waddle is
an inch and a half taller than Vic Lombardi.
Right. Oh, boy. Poor Vic. Yeah, but I mean, you forget that Waddle is not like, I'm 5'8" and 3/4. I've got him by a 1/4 inch, and I'm just me. So I think I also outweigh him, but that's a different reason. But yeah, you forget that Marvin is even lankier. So I think that's what you wanted. You just haven't gotten the shiftiness underneath to be able to make it all work yet. Yeah. But could he see some of that from Jaylen Waddle and pick up on it? And that's why before the Waddle trade, I thought this was kind of like the learn everything year, which is like all these guys are going to be 23, 24. You figure out like who is what. And I think it's still that. It's just going to be a little bit tighter because you don't have as many snaps or targets to go around.
It's such a good problem to have. The Broncos now have too many weapons at the wide receiver position, and this is going to be a big year for Pat Bryant because I think he absolutely has an opportunity to run away with that third job because he can do it all because Sean already trusts him as a blocker. And do not forget, Sean is the one that has said he's got Michael Thomas in his game. Wears the same number as well, and he was the guy making those comps. You don't say that and not have the utmost confidence in him turning into at least a star, if not a superstar. And so that's going to be something where this honestly might be Pat Bryant's job for the long run to lose right here.
Yeah, I think the big thing for him there is health. More than anything, I would just like to see him play 17 games next year so that next offseason we're not having the conversation of JK.
Yeah.
And maybe that wouldn't be fair, but it does happen when, you're in the league for 2 years and you're banged up the whole time. People start to put you in a box. So I really hope he can stay healthy because if he does, I think his development will be one of the more fun things to watch on this offense this year.
And then it was brought up yesterday with Courtland Sutton. The Broncos essentially can get out of his contract after this next year. Now, if things go how they did last year and the year before with Bo and Sean and Davis all loving Courtland Sutton, then he's going to be here for the contract that he's in, and he should be here, especially because it'll be a good contract for the Broncos. But let's say there's a little dip there, or they see Pat Bryant just take a massive leap, and they're like, that's our number 2 right now. Do we then pay Marvin $20 million, move on from Court, and then we have Troy also there as the best 4th in the NFL, if not a 3rd as well, and that's when it gets interesting. And that's, again, why I think you keep all these guys and you don't trade any of them this year for that reason, for future development, but also you're going for a Super Bowl this year. So I think we're all on that same page, right? Don't trade.
Yeah. And the other thing with Court is it's not only you could get out after this year, you could also get out after the next year, after the next year. And so you just have that flexibility with Court the entire time. Also, somebody saying like he's going to have to restructure to stay. The new team, if you traded him, would have to pay him less than $20 million next year.
Yeah.
Which, as the receiver market keeps going up, is just going to look like a better and better deal. So if the Broncos keep him and they're the team that gives him the $19 million to stay, like it's not
a deal.
Like chump change, but it's great value for a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yes.
Man, this is fun. This is fun. And then, I mean, we know what the running back group brings if JK stays healthy, and obviously that's something everyone's going to be watching week in, week out, snap in, snap out. But if he does, you're talking about a top 3 running back when he was healthy last year. You just got a massive upgrade to your receiver room, and now we're talking about how deep they are there. And then there's always the hope that Evan Ingram is going to turn into the player that we thought he was going to be with Davis Webb calling the plays now. And then you throw Evan Ingram into this equation too. And there are problems of how do you get these guys all on the field. And that's a great problem for Davis to have.
Yep. And then just selfishly, or maybe unselfishly, you guys decide. I really want Cortland and obviously Garrett Bowles to be a part of the championship team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of those two guys, and I'm sure there's maybe someone else that could be added to that list that I'm not thinking of right now, but both of those two guys have been through a lot. And I've felt like kept a great attitude the entire time they were on a terrible football team.
Yeah.
And so those will be the ones that'll probably make me misty-eyed when they lift the Lombardi.
Yeah, it's a great point. And those are the 2 longest tenured Broncos as well. And, man, a Super Bowl probably puts them in the Ring of Fame as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, that's exciting. One thing that I want to get to before we move on to the conversation about Sean Payton talking about free agency is we have an insider on Jaylen Waddle on this set right now. And none of you are looking at him right now. Dion is Mr. Jaylen Waddle. We talked about this a little bit last week and got his insight on Jaylen Waddle. But Dion's been like, oh, you want to know how close I am to him? I'm on a freaking magazine cover with Jaylen Waddle. So I asked Dion to pull this up. Let's look at it right now. Dion, pull up this magazine. So this is back in high school, right?
Yeah.
Getting to it.
The only thing he's slow about pulling up is something about him.
Right.
Wow. Talk about putting team first.
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
So we got football preview. So Vipe, and look, if you see Jaylen Waddle right in the front wearing the blue jersey, and then right behind him, standing behind him, we got Dion. Let's zoom in on you and Jaylen.
Hey.
How sick is that?
Let's go. Who else is on there, D?
So there was some other Grant Gunnell, so some smaller names that a couple Pac-12 players, but no one that really panned out. Obviously, no one that was like Jaylen Waddle himself.
Right.
That's sick.
I mean, how many wide receivers have been picked in the top 6 in NFL history?
Let's say 25.
Really?
Maybe more.
I would take.
I'd take the over.
Oh my gosh! Wait, in the top 6 picks of the draft.
There've been a lot of drafts.
I'd take the under for sure.
Either way.
Look that up. I'm sure.
Okay,
let's trust Google AI.
Because it'd be interesting because they used to
It's not going to work. I'll use a different AI and see if we get 2 completely different answers.
not use AI at all.
Oh, look at you.
I mean, I can only
I
think of 2 under on the top of my head: Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Jamar Chase. Okay, 3.
Kevin
this is
White, I
unsortable.
think, was drafted in the top 5.
Oh wow, that's crazy. If so, I'm curious. You know what? Actually, while we look this up, let's celebrate Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday! Yes! All right, guys. This is like food ingenuity almost. I'm excited. What we got here are crispy chicken Crunchwrap sliders. So show the people. Look, it's the Crunchwrap you all know and love, but
They're tiny.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, and Crunchwrap is my order, so I bet this
Same.
slaps.
Oh
Love
my
it.
God.
So you guys go ahead, take a bite. These are filled with premium all-white meat, marinated chicken, seasoned with bold Mexican spices, tossed in a crunchy tortilla chip coating.
Yeah, they are.
Fresh pico de gallo, 3 cheese blend with a creamy chipotle sauce or jalapeno honey mustard.
There is not a bad bite in this thing.
All right, I'm
At
excited
all.
here to check this out
Ooh,
as
buddy.
well. Ooh.
The chicken, perfection. So good.
Wow. I got the jalapeno honey mustard one.
Ooh.
You give me 5 of these, I'm set.
Delicious.
So good.
Go check it out now. Might be small in size, but big in flavor. Perfect for late nights when your cravings just won't quit. The new crispy chicken crunch wrap slider. Shout out Taco
So
Bell.
good.
All right, we have all consulted our own individual analysis charts. Henry, what'd you come up with?
So in the Super Bowl era, 31.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Not-
and what did you get?
Not what I got.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, and then.
Right.
Well, pre-Super Bowl, there were more drafts. I mean, if we want to count Dave Parks, the number 1
Well-
overall pick in 1964.
So when are we starting?
Mine was
Um,
definitely.
What year?
that would be like 67-ish. So
Okay.
the last one that counts would be 1971 because there were none between that and 1964.
Which-
And I forget when the Super Bowl
Oh, we
started.
used the same AI, I think.
Who was 1971? I got a different answer than you.
1971, J.D. Hill, Arizona State, went to the Bills.
What pick?
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
What did you get?
I got 14. Well, 15, but that goes to
Did you
1964.
use ChatGPT?
I said yes. I said how many wide receivers have been taken in the top 6 picks in NFL draft history?
I said, how many wide receivers have been taken in the top 6 picks of the NFL draft all time?
But that is incredibly similar. And what did you get?
AI sucks.
I got 22.
What in the world? Mine broke it down from pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, because we had
Really, this is like the last piece for AI to really nail down.
they
is
suck at sports
statistics.
Yeah.
So actually, the most recent one was Jaylen Waddle, according to my AI.
No, you had Travis Hunter. Year before you had Marvin Harrison,
Travis
Malik
Hunter's
Neighbors.
coming
Year before that, you had Jamar Chase and Jaylen Waddle.
Wow,
And then the year
that's
you had
very disappointing that my AI stopped
know.
after 2021.
Corey Davis, Amari Cooper, Sammy Watkins.
How did it stop
Justin Blackman,
Before it was
AJ
even
Green.
like, you know,
Julio.
you think
Yeah.
it would be better at knowing things.
Things more recent.
Soon, yeah.
Yes, I do have Justin Blackman on here.
Wait, so
Man,
what was that
that's
experience
crazy.
like, Dion?
Yeah.
Hanging out with Jaylen Waddle?
Yeah, so we used to play 7-on-7 together, like young, when I was like 14. And I was telling the guys, like, he's always been a freak. Like, he's always been crazy. And there was some crazy stat that I saw that was like, and it made sense because every time in high school he touched the ball, I feel like he scored. And it was like every time, like every target or something like that, he scored on 54% of his targets in like high school.
It's pretty good.
Pretty much, like almost every time he touched the ball, he scored immediately.
That is crazy.
So yeah, he's been like the same shifty, freaky. They didn't call him like, he didn't always do the waddle, but like they used to call him Mr. Wiggle because like he used to just literally wiggle across the field.
He turned the wiggle into the waddle.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm trying to find his high school stats because they just have to be absolutely disgusting right
Nah,
here.
they're insane. Let me
You
see
would have
if I can
expected
find
more of a write-up from 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I played middle school football with 2 guys who played in the NFL, and it felt like they scored on every time. Neither of them were top 6 picks.
Right.
Like I can't even imagine what it was like.
I mean,
for those-
54% of your targets. That means that pretty much most of your catches are going for a touchdown.
right?
That is wild. Okay, I got him. Who knows if they're true or not? But courtesy of
Not
Max,
AI this time.
Max Preps. Yeah, Max Preps.
Max
His
Preps.
as a senior, this
Well, let's see.
I'm getting his basketball stats.
I want those.
Okay, he scored.
He did.
No,
hoop.
you don't want
Yeah,
these.
He did play basketball.
Six points per game.
How many assists?
4.1 assists per game,
Okay.
which had to be pretty good. Why, when I look up Jaylen Waddle, would it give me? Oh, football. Here we go. 2-sport athlete. I give him credit. 2-sport athlete. Okay, football.
can't
As a senior, oh man, he threw the ball. He had a completion. No, he just
Nice.
threw the ball. No completion. Receiving. Here we go. As a junior, no senior stats in here. Why would it not give me the senior stats?
Oh my God, just give us something.
As a junior, 6 receptions. This can't
No,
be right,
it
though.
can't be right.
6 receptions, 263 yards. Hey, how about this, though? 6 receptions according to Max Prep, 5 touchdowns.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
That can't, it probably only
some good
tracks
stuff.
one game.
43 yards per catch, if true. Oh, no, yeah, this is one game. You're right. One game, 6 catches, 263 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
That's
there we
pretty
go.
good.
Yeah.
That sounds more like it. That's insane.
That's hilarious. That was a real.
Well, we
roller
wound up
coaster
with
there.
a stat.
We got a game.
Yeah,
The game adds up with Dion's stat.
It does. It really
It does. It
oh
does.
my goodness, that is crazy.
Dion undersold him.
Man, Dion, that is sick. When don't worry, we're efforting to get Jaylen, not just on the show, but in here.
How many copies of that magazine do you have?
I have so many, bro.
Bro, let's bring one. Please bring
Will you
one
sign
in.
one
I'm gonna
for me?
bring one in. I'm gonna
Please bring one in.
You
We
need
got
to
to get
sign
that
one
on
for
the
me.
wall or something.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh, we have to have him sign it
Yeah, I was
too.
gonna say, we have to
Dion
take it to
and
him.
Jaylen.
Yeah.
I just need Dion.
Yeah.
As soon as we see him, yeah, we got to get him because
Yeah.
he'll probably that'll take him back. I
Yeah.
know it will.
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
And then we'll get all the stories on you in high school from Jaylen too. That is too cool. Love that you showed that to us, Dion. We're with the celebrity ourselves right here. All right, let's dive into the super chats, and we'll get to free agency either later today or tomorrow if we're not able to get it today. But we've got a super chat coming in from Amaro 1983 says the Century Club equals 1 shot of beer every minute for 100 minutes. That's an hour and 40 minutes. Go Broncos, drink responsibly, and don't drive while playing this game.
I've done the power hour.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Why would we need to add another 40 minutes?
You can always do more in this world, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never done that one. And how many beers is that? Because it's 1.5 ounces. So what's 100 times
12
1.5?
ounces of beer.
That's 150 ounces divided by 12 is 13,
15, yeah.
12 and a half.
12 and a half.
Oh,
12 and a half beers in less than 2 hours. That is insane. It sounds easier than it is.
no, it's not easy. The power hour, I mean, I guess the power hour was easy. It just
Not
made
for
you
me.
drunk.
It just
Yeah.
got bubbly. Yeah.
Yeah, by like 42. Yeah.
I'd do the power hour or the Century Club again before ever doing Edward 40 hands again.
Oh, that is very fair. Yes.
It is nice as an adult just to like drink the beer as you please. Like it's never you have to no hands until you drink all your beer.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Those are crazy times.
Dion, being a responsible athlete in college, probably has no idea what these things are.
He's probably never touched
Yep.
a beer in his life.
No,
Still,
no idea. No
clue.
idea. We got one front coming in from Rat Pack Text who says, how is this a question? Mims is a proven player and Troy drops a lot of balls. He is not Jerry Rice, RK. Every time Mims gets his chance,
That is a
he
good point.
shines. I completely agree with you on that last part.
Yeah.
Every time Marvin Mims gets a chance,
I
he
don't,
shines.
how is what a question?
Who is the third wide receiver? So he's saying like, how is this a question? It's obviously Marvin Mims.
Well, the Broncos last year decided to give Troy Franklin twice as many targets as Marvin.
It's true.
Wait, 3 times as many targets. No, twice as many targets.
Twice, yep.
Twice.
104 to 51.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then almost double the catches and double the yards.
more than double the yards.
Also, I didn't say he was Jerry Rice. I just said that the phrase once a dropper, always a dropper is not a real thing.
No, I remember you saying Troy Franklin dropped all those passes, so we know he is Jerry Rice.
Hey,
I think
we
that's what I
don't know
remember
that
you
he's
saying.
not.
No, you said he is Jerry Rice. That's what it was.
He's not even as old as Jerry Rice as a rookie yet.
And you know what?
Wow.
If he turns into Jerry Rice, I bet he's at least the top 3 receiver for the Broncos.
If Marvin Mims turns into Jerry Rice, they're going to continue like throw the ball 40 times to him
I
per
just
season.
I just think
I think
that
he is. He might be Jerry Rice.
there's a shot that in 1 year from now, it's hands and away, far and away. There's something with hands in there. I don't know. Far and away.
Hands down.
Hands down.
There
That's
we
it.
go.
Hands
There
down
we
and
go.
far and away.
Both.
There's a Broncos third receiver, and that would be the best thing for him because you know what? If it is Marvin Mims, then you do pay him. If he's taken over and you have you have Court and Waddle as 1,000-yard guys, and then Marvin burst on the scene for 800 this year, it's definitely him, and you pay him, and you just move forward that way. So we'll see how it plays or unfolds. Next one coming in from Rat Pack Text again, who says, "Don't forget Court had a lot of drops last year." as well.
People like you will always remind us that a player dropped a ball.
Yes.
So we'll never forget.
And that's, I mean, one of the reasons, whether it was not Tyke Tolbert.
Tyke Tolbert. Wow.
Yeah.
That's Super Bowl champion Tyke
Yes,
Tolbert.
it is. Why can I not remember his name? But the Broncos' former receiver coach's name.
Kerry Colbert.
Kerry Colbert. That's one of the reasons he's gone, is because the Broncos had, the second most drops in the NFL last year?
Depends on where you go. A lot of people have him first.
Okay, well, there you go. That's a
count
big reason why the Broncos know that they have drop problems, and that's why they made a change at the wide receiver coach position, and Sean really hopes that new guy's going to teach him to catch like this. Ronald Curry, former actually very
legend
good athlete.
Hooper.
Yeah.
Legend athlete.
Yeah,
Right.
really was. So the Broncos
best
know
Curry.
that. So we'll see. They're all going to have to get better at catching the ball as well. And final super chat coming in from All Things Football 24 with a pretty good super chat. We appreciate you. Says, I love Court, but he drops to the ground during low in stride catches. That's a concern for me compared to everyone else in the receiver room. That and drops make Pat Bryant my number 2.
Somebody had to say it. Like, we've been talking too much about Troy and Marvin. Somebody had to say, yep, Pat Bryant. He's going to be the guy.
Not the number 3, the number 2.
Oh, well, yeah,
And
that
I
part's
actually think
crazy.
that they're making Jaylen Waddle the number 1, so now Court's the number 3.
Yes, which is crazy. But I'm glad somebody did prop up Pat Bryant after all this.
I'm big on Pat Bryant, and I think that in a big slot role, he's pretty well suited for it. So that could definitely be exciting. But going back to the point about like going to the ground, that's what I was talking about in terms of Jaylen Waddle yak. Like, he just gets the ball and goes, and I feel like we never see that with the Broncos. Now, on 3rd and 8 on an in-cutting route, if you got to go to the ground and make sure that you secure it, by all means.
Yep. And for Cortland, that's been the difference between like 1,000 yards and 1,200 yards.
Yep.
Like, if he could just catch the ball and keep running more often, then that would make him that next level of receiver.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you.
Still useful.
I'll ask you guys and the chat. What do you want? Do you want Courtland Sutton? He's comfortable catching the ball like that. Do you want him to catch it like that, go to the ground, no yak? Or do you want him to do something he's uncomfortable with and catch it in stride, even though he can continue to run, but then he risks dropping even more balls?
Just
The
give me
Broncos would
catches.
probably say, get the yards, get the first down, get the 17 yards, get to the ground, and you're exactly right. That's why we brought Jaylen Waddle in, is because we know that you're more comfortable catching the lower balls and just sliding on the ground, but catching them. And Jaylen, he's going to be that yards after the catch guy.
Totally.
So I think people in the end would take the, just don't drop it, catch the ball, get the first down. Let's keep the chains moving. Philip in the Twitter chat says, are the Broncos underutilizing the talent if only top 10 talent?
What does that mean?
It's a good question.
Top 10 offense. Yeah, here's what I thought he meant. He meant top 10 offense.
We love you, Phil. Oh, there we go.
If the
Top 10
Broncos,
offense.
if the Broncos are a top 10 offense next year, only top, like number 10, are they underutilizing their skills?
No.
Duh. I don't know. There's just so much goes into it. Like, if JK plays every game, I would say there's a chance that's the case.
But
like,
if JK plays every game, if everyone's healthy and the Broncos have the 10th best offense in the league, I'll be very happy.
yeah.
I would not be like, wow, they underachieved. They should have been top 5.
Yeah. They just feels like they're capable of more. I mean, last year they were, or no, 2 years ago, they were 10th in points, 19th in yards. Last year they were 14th in points, 10th in yards. I think there should be another level there.
Okay, but let's remember when we did receiver and it's like, or running back, and it's like, oh man, this guy's definitely top 5. And then you go through them and you're like, holy shit, there's actually like 8 elite running backs.
Right.
You also have to compare to the rest of the NFL. So
really quick though, 2 years ago you said they were 10th in points. The only point of being on offense is to score points.
I agree. Get rid of this yards garbage.
But then
I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
But
Yards are better
if you remember
predictor of the
that year,
future.
it was like so unbalanced where it was like they had all these blowout wins and
True.
then like low outputs against good teams. So that one, but like last year, 14th in points. So if they move up 4 spots in points, I mean, I think that's a Super Bowl team. That's a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, probably a top 5 defense.
Completely agree. And like the teams that are above them last year, and you guys can give me like, can the Broncos or should the Broncos jump this team? The Rams were number 1. Should they jump them?
No.
No. New England was number 2.
I think they're coming back.
you should.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I agree. Seattle number 3.
Probably not.
Buffalo number 4.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably
Detroit
not.
number 5. That was after they had their slide, by the
Yeah.
way. Their last year's
just
slide.
Probably not
crazy that
Detroit.
They slid back to 5. Everyone was like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with
I
the
know,
offense?
I
Ben
know.
Johnson.
I do think that Bill's run game is coming back to earth a bit.
Really
the
quick,
pass
we're
game,
going
I'm
to
curious.
continue this
Yeah.
conversation, wrapping up in overtime. Go to thednvr.com to finish the conversation in overtime. Jacksonville, number 6 last year.
You could be
they're
fun
coming
for sure.
back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dallas,
They're just weird.
they're
They
always a
always-
good offense
In their
my
own
opinion.
way.
So
And
Yeah.
they have 2 top 10 receivers.
yeah,
Right.
so I don't expect the Broncos to jump them. Indianapolis, yeah, they're coming back. Chicago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you think they're coming back?
I think that
I mean,
you should
Broncos
be
should be better. Like they might not come back. Broncos could certainly be better.
Could, but I personally wouldn't put the expectation that they should be.
I mean, you're projecting
yeah.
more upward movement for the Bears, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean they should. I would think. San Francisco,
Tough to say.
tough.
Year 2.
Baltimore.
Another
They
one
should be
that's
good. Yeah.
Yep. So I
They're
wouldn't
tough to
expect
pass.
them. Cincinnati.
Hard to say.
Yep.
is.
And then Houston. Yeah.
You should be in front of them.
Yeah.
So we just named at least 4 or 5 teams that you should be in front of, but there's still like that would put the Broncos at 9 right there. So to your question, Philip, is it disappointing if they're 10? No, because if they're behind, all of those teams, the Rams, the Lions, the Bills, the Ravens, the Bears, the Bengals, like, and they're still putting up, where would that
Well,
put
and who
them?
knows? Like, you could be in 10th place and be like 0.5 of a point away.
Right,
Also,
right.
there's half a point
Yeah.
away from 3rd.
Right.
Right.
There's a lot that goes
and
into it.
that would be 26 points a game if it was how the list ended last year. You're good. You're not underperforming there.
I do think the Bills are the target to me. The Bills are the team that I think you should get in front of. Like your run game should be better than their run game. Like James Cook doing all that stuff.
It's not fair though. They had the best run game in the NFL last year,
Right.
so I don't think that's a fair bar to set.
Okay. I think they can do. I think if JK's healthy, of course, I think you can do that. I think that's like a good goal. I think
A good
pass
goal is to be
game-wise-
the best running game I mean, that's a good goal, but expectation, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be as productive with it this year. That's why I think I'm shooting kind of high here, obviously, but I think the Bills are the team you want to get in front of offensively, just because of the way they're built. I think passing game wise,
Bills
you
got
just
better in
have
the
better
pass game.
weapons. Yeah, so the Broncos.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
no,
think
definitely.
that's the team that I would circle and say if I'm the Broncos, I want to be better than them. If we do that, then we did it.
If they do that, then they're Super Bowl champions, like without
Yeah,
a doubt. With
that's
this
my goal.
defense, yeah, but goals and expectations are different.
Totally.
We're gonna have a fun conversation about this coming up in the coming months. I can definitely tell. But that's gonna do it for us today. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out, and we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m.
God bless Bo Nix.
We all silly like the mayor.